Hello everyone, I'm teacher Winnie. Today we'll discuss on Physics SPM Trial 2022 Negeri Sembilan paper 1. Okay, first question is from chapter 1 from 4 measurement. Diagram shows a measuring instrument being used to measure one physical quantity. Which of the following statement is true? Okay, there is a table where stated, okay, what type of physical quantity being measured, and another one, what are the type of physical quantity. So for information, what is physical quantity? Physical quantity is any quantity that can be measured by scientific instrument. Okay, so basically, based on the table, the physical quantity is either current or luminous intensity. So if you will look at the diagram that show you a fluorescent lamp, okay, and then you are using this lux meter. So a lot of you may not know what is this instrument. Okay, but if you were to look at the answer, current and luminous intensity, which is the best answer. So for understanding luminous intensity also refer to the idea of brightness lah. So basically, okay, the lamp will produce a light. So basically, lux meter is used to measure the brightness. So that's why the physical quantity that being measured should be luminous intensity instead of current, because current you are used ammeter to measure the electric current. Okay, then next, physical quantity can also be classified as what? Base or derived quantity. Okay, then next one will be scalar or vector. Okay, so luminous intensity is the basic quantity, which is base, the 7 quantity like current, mass, temperature, electric current, and so on, right? Derived is the quantity that after you multiply, then you get another new quantity, example, volume, force. So for this case, it's actually base. Okay, so this is not correct already. Base. Okay, then lastly, so this luminous intensity, is there any direction involved? No, right? So it's actually scalar quantity. So vector quantity is quantity which have direction on and magnitude, which mean example like velocity, acceleration, all this is classified as vector. So it's actually scalar quantity. So this one cannot. Yeah, so based on the option that we have, of course, the answer is C lah, right? So the quantity being measured, luminous intensity, and type quantity is base and also scalar quantity. Question 2. Diagram 2 show a displacement time graph of moving motorcycle. This is from chapter 2, linear motion graph. Which pair of motion from Q to S is correct? So every time when you look at the graph, always be careful about the y-axis. Is it displacement time graph or velocity time graph? So if it is displacement time graph, and you always relate the idea of graph with their gradient or area under the graph. So what does the gradient of displacement time graph refer to? So gradient is actually y divided by x, right? Which is displacement over time. Is referred to velocity. So we go through this graph, then only we see what they want. So basically from Q to R, you see is curving upward. Okay, so if you were to find the gradient of the graph on this part, you actually find the instant point. Okay, so when you find the instant point, you see the line that teacher draw. What happened to this line for part A and B? They're getting steeper, agree? Yes. So when they're getting steeper, it also mean increasing velocity. So this is what happened during QR. Then next part, which is go downhill. Okay, if we were to calculate the gradient, then it will be constant, correct enough? Indeed, this is constant velocity. But if you know maths, right, every time you were to calculate, you will actually get what? The negative answer, agree? So what does this negative means, okay, in displacement time graph? This negative means opposite direction. Which means if teacher were to draw a line graph, so, okay, that's mean the distance travel is from 0 meter to 20 to 40 to 60 to 80, correct? Which means somebody from move from where to where? Move from 0 meter to 80 meter until point R, understand? Then from R, it back to origin, but then constant velocity. That means when it go faster. But when at 80, it stop and then it reverse and back to 0. Okay, because negative have a few meanings in motion graph. One is directions, right? And another one, if it is velocity time graph, it also can mean slowing down. So A, B, C, D, which one show velocity increases for part QR, which is this and this, right? And then for RS, constant velocity, my opposite direction, correct? Yes, this one correct, this one correct. No, this one not same direction. So of course, the answer that both thick one is for B. Okay, increasing velocity, uniform velocity in opposite direction. Question 3. Diagram 3 show a vase which is placed on a table. Which modification on vase will increase its inertia? So as you know, the idea of inertia means what? The tendency of an object to resist change in motion. Okay, so normally when we talk about the idea of inertia, we will link with the idea of mass. Link with mass. Okay, so basically if you change the height, increase the base area, all this not affect the idea of inertia. They only affect the stability or even lower the center of gravity. So you're supposed to use a heavy base. Okay, because heavy idea, the base heavy, that means the mass increases, right? When mass increases, inertia also increase. That means it have a tendency to remain at a state of rest. If let's say this vase want to remain at rest. If it is like very easy, it will topple. Yes. Okay. Next. Number 4, diagram 4 show two balls, A and B, each with mass of 1.5 kg moving towards each other with a velocity of 3 meters per second and 2 meters per second respectively. So which statement is true about the ball? So this is under the topic on momentum. Okay, so actually under the idea of principle of conservation of momentum, there are 3 types of collision, whereby you have what? Collision, you have elastic, then you have inelastic, and then you have explosion. Okay, so how do you differentiate these 3 types of collision? First, for elastic collision, after the object, right, the 2 objects collide, basically they'll move with different velocity. Then in elastic, they have one important idea. After the 2 objects collide, they will move together. After collision, move together with same velocity. Sometimes they use the term common velocity. While explosion, initially they're not move, but then after, okay, collision, they will actually move in opposite direction. Okay, most of the concept or application involve explosion. Example, launching of rocket, firing a cannon, and so on. Okay, so based on this one, okay, basically this is referred to what type of collision? You see, they move with velocity of this. Okay, then they didn't say that what happened right after collide. Okay, but you can actually calculate. Okay, so like I say, all these 3 collision, right? They are different because of the scenario after collision, right? But they all obey what principle, where we call it principle of conservation of momentum, whereby they have this common formula, m1u1 plus m2u2 equals to m1v1 plus m2v2. 1 refer to object 1 like A lah, okay? Then 2, object 2 like B, okay? So means when you calculate this is what we call it total momentum before the collision. You will get it equal to total momentum after. Okay, so they say momentum A before the collision is 3 kilogram ms negative 1. Okay, so there only one object A. as you know, general idea momentum is mass times velocity. So they want you to find the momentum of A. So it's m1u1 or so you have mass 1.5 times 3. So by right, you're supposed to get what? 4.5. So that means this is not correct. Then B before collision should be 2. So we find B also m2 u2 1.5 times 2. You're supposed to get 3. Also not correct. Then total momentum before collision is 1.5. Now, bear in mind, momentum is vector quantity. That means you're going to plus this and this, correct or not? But you look at the diagram, they obviously show you that is A and B move in same direction. No, correct or not? That means you need to denote one of the object with the direction of negative. So like number line, normally toward right side is positive, left side is negative, but it's up to you, one doesn't matter. So it's just indicate direction only. So that's why for the B, right? Okay, you're supposed to have a negative. So that's why if you were to plus, you will have 4.5 plus negative 3. Is before. So you're supposed to get what? 1.5. Yes, so this is the correct value. And like I say, based on this principle, they should be equal. That means after collision, they also must be 1.5. So you see, total momentum after is 7.5 for this one. So therefore, it is not correct. Okay, so the correct answer is C. Number 5 is Form 4. Basically, this one is involved in Form 5 as well, not only F net equals to MA, right? Because you have this inclined plane. So diagram 5 show a fruit basket with mass of 3 kg at rest. And then it's being pulled by a 20 Newton force on an inclined plane that have a frictional force of 10 Newton. So what will happen to the box if you were to pull it with 20 Newton? So for this kind of questions, you need to know what is the force act on the system. So normally we'll draw free body diagram. First, all object will have weight. Weight is always acted down with the gravitational force. W equals to mg. Okay. Then next step, for inclined plane questions, when you are in mobile, you will learn this idea. You can resolve it into two components, which is this. I use another color. The component parallel to the plane, you draw this first, and then with right angle to it. Then next, this 30° is also located over here. Okay, simple idea. This whole thing is a right angle triangle. Notice this whole thing. So which means this is 90. Then this is 30 ma. That means this is how much? 60. And of course, this whole thing is 90° again. Notice, so that's why 90 minus 60, you get 30 back over here. Okay, or you know, like if this is the inclined plane, and when you draw, you will know this 30° is also located over here. Why you need to know this idea? Because when you resolve the force, right? Okay, then you will have relationship either sine theta or cos theta, or this idea. Okay, so we give a name. So this component, we call it F, parallel to the inclined plane. So I name it as FP. Okay, so it will be mg sine 30. Why it is sine? Because this 30 is not touching this component. Or you use trigonometry, you will get this idea. While this one, you will have, I name it as F and where they are opposite from the normal force, then you will have mg cos theta. But we will only focus on the component on where? We'll only focus on the component over here. We want to see what happened to the resultant force over this part. Okay? So now you have this Fp equals to mg sine 30, and then you also have the pulling force, which is 20 Newton upwards, right? And also you will have one more force based on the questions, which is frictional force. Frictional force must be a force that opposes the motion. Okay, so this is F R, frictional force of 10 Newton. So now what you do is you calculate out what is the FP first. So mg, the mass is 3, g is 9.81, sine 30. So when you calculate, you will get 14.715. So if you were to look at the arrowhead, they are in opposite direction. So now you need to see, is the pulling force greater than these two forces or lower? If they are greater, that means the box being pulled out with an acceleration. But let's say your downward force is greater, means the FP with the FR. See, FP with the FR is 24.715 is greater than 20. So that means automatically this object will fall down. Okay, being pulled down. That's why it will slow down the box. Okay, speed up cannot. Speed up is provided your pulling force greater. If it is nothing happen at rest or move at constant velocity, that means your F must be equals to FP plus FR. Okay, so this is some concept that you will learn as forces in equilibrium and also resolution of force. Okay, so this is the answer. Next one, you will have the topic under the impulse and impulsive force. So diagram 6 show a baseball player hitting a ball. And impulsive force is produced when what? So what is impulsive force? Impulsive force, okay, is actually rate of change of momentum or the force produced in a short time interval. So you will get this force when you hit the object. The moment you hit the object, so that's why if the object is soft or hard, then you will have different in the impulsive force, rate of change of momentum, right? mv minus mu over t. And we normally focus the impulsive force idea with the time interval. They are inversely proportional. That means you hit it fast and the surface is hard, then the time taken is short. Then you will have a great impulsive force. So an impulsive force produced when the ball move in the air, not correct lah. When your baseball is swing backward, also not correct. You swing it with high velocity, also not yet. The moment you hit it, yes, then impulsive force is produced. Number 7, according to the Newton universal law of gravitation, the force of gravity between the two objects is inversely proportional to what? So of course, first you need to know what is the formula for Newton universal law of gravitation, which is F equals to what? G m1 m2 or capital M small m, also no problem as long as between two objects over R square, right? So they say, okay, what is the relationship? So actually from this law, is stating that the force is actually directly proportional between the two masses, but they will actually inversely proportional to the distance. This R is referred to the distance between the two objects, the square of R. So we see the answer. They want inversely proportional, right? That's mean this case. Okay, the distance between the body, the product of mass wrong, G is wrong. The square of the distance between the center of the two bodies. So A and B, A and D, which one is the best answer? Of course, the best answer will be D. They memang got the square here. So that's why if you didn't read the questions carefully, you didn't read all the options, some people see, oh, I think it's R. Then you didn't aware that the square must be there. Then you may choose wrong answer. So always, okay, make it a habit, read all the options. Number 8, diagram 7 show the planets Earth and Venus orbiting the Sun. Giving the radius of orbit of Earth and Venus are 1.5 times 10 power 11 and 1.08 times 10 power 11 respectively. And orbital period of the Earth is 365 days. Calculate the orbital period of Venus. Okay, so this is under topic of gravitation on Kepler's law. Now, Kepler's had 3 laws, first, second, and third. First is regarding the shape of the orbit. It's supposed to be ellipse. And then number 2 is equal area, equal time concept. And third one is talking about the relationship between the radius and the orbital period, whereby the t square is directly proportional to r cubed. So this is Kepler's third law. Okay, and due to this idea, you will have a formula whereby you have an t1 square over t2 square equals to r1 cube over r2 cube. So this is the formula that we're going to use to calculate. Now, for this type of formula, if you notice, they are in a ratio form, like T1, T2, R1, R2. Okay, then you just need to make sure both T must be in the same unit, both R in the same unit, but they not necessarily must be in SI unit. Okay, so like this Earth, they already give you is R1, right? That means you label correctly, you know. Okay, R1 should be 1.5. Then Venus is R2, right? So this is R2. And then Earth, period for Earth. So if you use 1 as Earth, then everything for Earth will be 1. So same go for the orbital period. So this is referred to T1. They want you to calculate T2. Okay, so now your T1 is in days. So you don't need to change to a second, the SI unit as time. Okay, but your final answer for orbital period T2 is also must be what? In days lah. Okay, can. So now we want to find T2, right? Yeah. Okay. So you can rearrange the formula first, make it T2 as subject first, then only you start to sub, or up to you. If you do not have any problem in maths, then you can go ahead with your method. Okay, but some of you always confuse bottom up all this. So you must make sure your T2 on top, so you actually bring over, become up. Okay, and then okay, T1 square equals to R1 cube over R2 cube. Okay, then you time it T2 square already, right? But then we want T2 alone, ma. Now you have to bring this R to the other side. So how do you do that? Okay, so same thing one. If you want to bring to the other side, this one, bring down. Corner. Then move here. Okay, so hence now you have T2 square equals to T1 square multiply, but you swap. Okay, R2, R1, but the whole thing you can straight away cube it. Okay, can those of you who do not know how to rearrange, now teacher show already. Now you can sub the value already. 365. Remember, they have to be square. Then you need to put the square. Then R2, 1.08 times 10 power 11 over 1.5 times 10 power 11. And the whole thing bracket, you cube it. Then you will get the answer. Now, bear in mind, let's say your calculator cannot have like fraction form one, or you're not used to it, you only press those sign like divide times all this. Anything that you divide, always put a bracket, make it habit. Or you solve it part by part. You don't press everything in calculator one shot. Okay, you think you solve this one first, then only you time, then only you square. It's okay one. You take a bit time, write all this, then at the end you get the most accurate answer, better than you put everything inside, but then because you press one number wrongly, everything will be wrong. Also, this is a kind of important idea lah. Okay, so now we press calculator. 1.08 times exponent 11, then you divide by 1.5 times exponent. Okay, then this answer you cube it, then time 365 square. So by right, you're supposed to get about this value first, 49725.96. But this is still square, you know. I want T2. So what you do with this answer? Square root of this answer. Then at the end, you will get about 2 to 3 days. 2 to 3 days. Okay, so for this topic, I know that students always make mistakes because first, the formula involved got square, cube, all this. So, but you all need to practice on. Or you cannot because you don't like maths or you think it's complicated, then you ignore it. Because sometimes the more you do a few times, you know this is how the pattern look like. You pindah here, pindah there, then you can actually get the correct answer. Okay. Okay, next, this is from chapter 4, from 4 thermal equilibrium. Diagram 8 shows a mercury thermometer. Which of the following will increase the sensitivity of the thermometer? Okay, so basically you want it to be more sensitive. That means detect the heat faster. The moment you put in, you straight away get. So there is a few way lah. One, the glass bulb must be small, and then the wall also must be thin, and then this tube should be also small diameter. Yeah, so when it's small diameter, that means the increase a little bit, then you can detect okay, instead of a thick one. That means your scale this amount compared to this is a similar one. So you use a longer tube? No. Thicker wall? No. Thicker wall also? No. Yes. Also the answer is D lah. Number 10, latent heat is absorbed when, okay, so bear in mind under this topic for specific latent heat, so as you know, this latent heat involved when there is a change in the state of the object instead of changing its temperature. So it's like those process like melting, okay, freezing, evaporation, condensation, and so on. So of course you need to know when the heat is being absorbed, okay. Is it the heat being absorbed when you have the state like what? You change the state from solid to liquid to gas, right? Okay, example, ice melt. Then liquid to gas, or you can evaporation or boiling lah. Yeah. So if vice versa, then the heat is what? Heat release. Yeah. So therefore we see freezing, no. Condensation, no as well. Evaporate, yes. Okay, heated is not the idea yet lah, because you didn't tell. So the answer is D for number 10. Next, a balloon filled with a gas at atmospheric pressure. The balloon then is immersed in the water until its volume becomes 1/4 of its initial volume. What is the depth of the balloon under the water surface? Okay, so this idea, they involve actually two topics lah. One is the gas law, another one you must have some idea under pressure for Form 5. So I sketch out the idea is about the idea when you have a balloon. Okay, so you immerse it into here. They want you to find this depth. Okay, while this volume become 1/4. Okay, so that means initial you have a balloon just acted by atmospheric pressure. Okay, and they also tell you the atmospheric pressure is 10 meter water. Okay, so basically, for what you learn in Form 5, when the depth increases, what happened to the pressure? Pressure also increases. So this is what you learn in Form 5. Then in Form 4, you learn about the idea between pressure and volume, right? You all know what formula that involve or what law is that? Also, this triangle is a very useful PVT. Then teacher say you always have this guru, bahasa, Cina, correct? Okay, so now you involve P and V. So it's actually regarding what law? Boyle's law. So Boyle's law state that what is the relationship between pressure and volume? You try to compress something, what happened to pressure? Higher, right? So they are inversely proportional. So that's why when your pressure is greater, what happened to volume? It becomes smaller. Okay, so that's why you see from 1. So we assume this is up to you, the label 1 or 2. So we want initially is V also V2 become 1 over 4 V. Okay. Then P1 is acted by atmospheric pressure, so it's this as well. But P2 is what? P2 supposedly, right, is atmospheric pressure plus the depth here. Okay, so I write 10 plus D. Okay, then how do you solve this question? You are using the Boyle's law, which is what? P1 V1 equals to P2 V2. So your P1 is 10, V1 is V. P2 is 10 plus D, but your V2 is 1 over 4 V. So first we can cancel out the V first, yeah. Then this one is 1 over, right? So I bring over, it become what? 10. Sorry, I write wrongly. Yeah, it's 4. This one, I wonder, because it's got 2 unknown already. This 1 over 4. So you have 40 lor, okay, equals to 10 plus D. So end up you have D equals to 30. So this is how you solve this type of questions. Yeah, that's why if you are not clear about the concept or which formula to use, then you may make mistake. And then some more they involve a bit of unknown, right? Which means they didn't give you the value of V1 and V2 directly, but they use a fraction idea. Also, you denote that time is 1 means 1 or 2 means 2. Okay, sub that time also must be careful. Now, it's good that you sketch out the scenario, because sometimes you didn't sketch out, then you may like later on, this 10 you assume is P2. Then V1 is V something like that. So then end up you all will confuse. But you see when teacher show like that, it's easy for you to see, right? So in exam also you all do the same thing. Okay, next one, question 12. Which statement is true about electromagnetic wave? So as you all know, electromagnetic wave, they are a transverse wave, all right? And do they require medium to travel? No, they can travel in vacuum. Those waves that require medium to travel is what we call it as longitudinal wave. The most common example is what? Sound wave. And another example for transverse wave require media is what? Is this water wave. But then electromagnetic wave, they really travel through vacuum. They are transverse, and they have this magnetic field and electric field which are perpendicular to each other. So hence your answer is 1, 2, and 4. B. Sorry, 1, 3, and 4. C. Okay, C. Next one, 13. Which comparison is true about area M and also N? Okay, so a student is over here. So M is here, N is here. Okay, what is this distance in between first? This is called wavelength. So the wavelength here is smaller for M. Why they are smaller? Because the speed at M is also lower. Okay, they travel slower, they're only getting faster. How come they are slower? Because of the depth. So basically, this region, right, they are shallow. Okay, compared to M, which is deep. Okay, so if I would to show you the side view, it may be easy for you to capture. That means in the M part, right, they are shallow. Okay, so this is the wave, something like us, but inside view can get the idea. So they slow down. Then when they go to the deeper region, right, they get getting faster. Okay, and generally frequency is constant. Yeah, for all the wave phenomenon like refraction, reflection, or diffraction. So let's see the option. Which one is the correct answer? Area M is deeper. Wrong, no, teacher said already. M is shallower. Velocity of water wave or at area M is smaller. Correct, right? M is smaller. Correct. Wavelength M is bigger. Wrong. It should be smaller also. Frequency of wave M is higher. No. Okay. They're supposed to have same frequency. So this is wrong. So the option is B lah. Okay, move on. These questions on diffraction. Diagram 10 show water wave moving toward a harbor. Which of the following statement is correct about the wave at P? Okay, so what happened when the wave basically move in or pass through a gap? So by right, when this is called gap, they will actually spread. So when they spread, right, what happened is basically amplitude of the wave will be decreases. If amplitude decreases, energy also become less. Due to this factor, right, that's why the boats, all this park under this region, the harbor, they will be safer lah, because the wave, which is very strong, being reduced its energy level already. Yeah. So now, which statement is correct? Frequency decrease? No. Like just now, teacher mentioned, basically all three phenomena. Frequency remain constant one. The speed also no change for diffraction by right. Wavelength is also no change. Energy decreases. Yes. So this is the answer. D. 15. Diagram 11 show the fringes obtained when the blue light is used in a young double slit experiment. So which fringes are observed if the red light is used in this experiment? So for this one, you need to know that it's a young double slit is also under the concept of what? Interference of wave. Interference of wave. And you have this formula, lambda equals to AS over D. So this lambda refer to a color of light, okay? Different color, they will have different wavelength. And then now they want you to compare wavelength with X. X is the distance between the fringe, just between the two bright fringes or between the two dark fringes. So this is the idea of X. Okay, so therefore you need to know the relationship between lambda and X. So basically they are directly proportional. And you need to know which color of light have longest wavelength and shortest wavelength. So regarding the 7 color of light, right, you have this Roy gave birth in Vietnam. Okay, so now you are comparing who? Red and also blue. So red color will have the longest wavelength, then violet have the shortest wavelength. So that means from blue to red, your wavelength how? Increases. Okay, so once your wavelength increases, that means the distance between the two fringes also increases. So among A, B, C, D, C memang wrong because you see the distance shorter already. D is not correct also because they seems to be same, no change. Yeah, so now your X is bigger, notice? Yes. Then why you don't choose B? Because this is not the interference pattern. The pattern for B is for the diffraction of light near pattern. Yeah, so they will be wider at the center, then when towards the sideway, they become smaller. Yes, okay. So this is how you get the answer for number 15, interference of wave. Number 16, diagram 12 show two campsites that are separate by a lake at midnight. The sound from the opposite campsite can be heard clearly. So what phenomenon explain this? Okay, so why at night it hear clearly? Because the sound being refracted towards the ground or towards the earth. So this concept is called refraction of wave, refraction of sound wave. But in daytime, right, the difference in the temperature of air will affect the density. Yeah, so hence it will refract away from earth. So daytime you cannot hear clearly, but nighttime you can hear clearly. Moving on for light topic, this is under total internal reflection. Which of the following apply the concept of total internal reflection, formation of rainbow? Yes, when the ray strike, they will encounter refract. Then on the back part of the water droplets, right, they will encounter total internal reflection. Simple idea regarding total internal reflection is the ray will reflect inside the medium. Yeah, so therefore, yes. And then mirage, again, mirage is a phenomenon whereby a simple idea for you all is that during a hot day, if you look at the road, right, it seems like there is a pool of water, but then when you go near, the water is missing. So it's also the concept of mirage. Okay, then plane mirror periscope. Since it's a plane mirror, mirror is only involved the normal ideal reflection. Understand? Normal idea of reflection. They didn't reflect inside the median. If you want it to be reflect inside the median, then you need a prism periscope. Prism. So the ray will actually strike, then they go down. So it's reflect inside the medium. Okay, so that's why 3 is not acceptable. And lastly, optical fiber. Optical fiber is like you use in telecommunication or endoscope, where the ray will keep on reflect inside this medium, or they look like a glass, but it's flexible one. Yeah. So therefore, your answer is 1, 2, and 4, which is B lah. Number 18, which of the following characteristic of image formed by convex lens when the object is at 2F? Okay, so again, for convex lens or concave mirror, they have similar characteristic whereby when the object has different position. Okay, so imagine this is your lens. So where should be, okay, you will always, when you draw ray diagram, you need to denote F and 2F. So they have 6 different ray diagram. My teacher always mention what the position when object at less than focal length, at focus point between F and 2F, at 2F, more than 2F, and one more at infinity. I will tell student, you use this sequence. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you will have the end result, like a rhythm, more easy to remember. Womb, womb, rim, ris, read. This is the characteristic of the image. So they say at 2F, right? So which means this one, so that means the image should be what? Rear, inverted, and same size. Rear, inverted. So C. 19, a thin convex lens have focal length of 10 cm. Determine the position of image formed when the object distance is 15 cm. So for this question, you will apply the thin lens formula, which is 1 over F equals to 1 over U plus 1 over V, where U is object distance, V is image distance. So focal length is F. Then this one is U. They want you to find V, position of image means image distance also. So you rearrange, you have 1 over V equals to 1 over F minus 1 over U. Now before you sub, you also be careful. You need to know what type of lens in the question. So if convex lens, no worry, because the object distance, focal length all positive. But if it is concave, right? If it is concave, the focal length have to be negative. You need to put negative by yourself. They won't tell you in the questions. So this one, no problem because it's convex lens. So you have 1 over 10 minus 1 over 15. You get 1 over 30, but this is still 1 over V. I want V. So you invert it, you have 30 cm. Which of the following is not the application, not so the yes or true, correct, false, all this you all must be careful. They want mistake one. So for your information, concave mirror is like cave inward one, this one. So you use it at makeup mirror and dental mirror, where your object is less than focal length lah, it become magnified one. Then they also use at the reflector in the car headlamp, where you always put your headlamp right at point F. So whatever ray that strike, okay, they will, when they reflect, right, okay, or they cut they will come out parallel. They will come out parallel. So this is the idea of car reflector. Now for blind spot mirror, you are not using concave mirror. You are using what? You are using convex mirror, where you will diverge the rays, so you have wider field of vision. You can spot more things. So the answer is D. Okay, 21. Which statement is correct when an object is in the equilibrium of forces? So when the force is in equilibrium, that means this resultant force is equals to 0. That means the object have two states. Either they are at rest or move at constant velocity. So the answer itself is A already. Now B and C is not the most accurate answer because they only give part idea. Notice or not? So by right, you should add on, right? With a stationary, this one you add on with constant. So that's why whenever you read the option, right, the choice, you must go through all four, because sometimes it seems correct, but then not the most accurate. You have a better choice. Get it? D, they cannot be uniform acceleration, memang wrong lah. Okay. 22, diagram 13 show three arrangement X, Y, and Z of identical spring. Which of the following graph is correct for X, Y, and Z if 1 kg loads are attached to each spring? Okay, so this is force versus extension. And what is the gradient of this graph represent? The gradient represent the spring constant. Okay, if the spring is hard, that means the gradient is greater. Okay, that means less extension. When you see a steeper mean less extension. So now we will see which one have less extension for this graph. Z, right? Because you share. When the spring arranged in parallel, that means you share the load. That's why their extension will reduce by half if you got two springs. Then followed by Y, because the second part, you only have one spring around. This one, you still share. Okay, so Z have higher spring constant, then followed by Y, then X will extend the most. Okay, so X will have the less steep one. So you see Z, Y, X, B. Or if you cannot get the idea sometime, you see extension, teacher say already, with the same amount of force, then you look at their extension. Cannot wait, you see, same amount of force, right? The extension for Z is that much. For Y is that much. For X, wow, they extend the most. Get it? 23. Diagram 14 show a man is pulling with a load of mass 15 kg with a force P by means a smooth pulley. What is the value of P if the load moves with a uniform velocity? If the velocity is constant, uniform, that means the net force is 0. So your concept must be there. That means they are in the equilibrium state. Equilibrium. Okay, so the force that pull the object up or the pill up is called tension. Okay, you also will have the weight subject to it. So what should be the relationship between the weight and the tension? First, there should be equals to the tension. And since they are using the same string on the smooth pulley, relationship between T and P also must be equal. So for you to get P, you know what is the weight, then you can get the answer. So for this concept, weight is equals to mg, so mass is 15, g is standard 9.81. So when you press calculator, you're supposed to get 147.15. So your answer is B. These questions, there are a few fish in the aquarium. So which of the following statement is true? So this is under the liquid pressure idea, whereby liquid pressure is affected by H rho G. This refers to depth, then density of liquid, and G is the gravitational field strength. Okay, we normally focus on these two factors. So that's why the deeper the depth, what happens to the pressure? The pressure is also increases. Okay, so basically P and Q, they are on same level. If they are same level, that means they will have same pressure, same level, same pressure. Okay, so P and Q, they will have all, but then R will be greater than P, S is greater than P, and also greater than R, right? So now we see the option, which of the following is true regarding the pressure experienced by this fish. The pressure experienced by P is greater than R, wrong. It's the balik already. Then the pressure experienced by S is smaller than Q, also wrong. The pressure experienced by R is equals to S. How R and S, they are not same level, so not correct. The pressure experienced by P and Q is the same because they are same level, so the answer is D lah. Okay, next one. Diagram 16 show a hydraulic system. If the area of piston X and Y are 28.3 cm square and 7.48 meters square respectively, calculate the force that needs to be applied to lift the car. Okay, so for this idea, you may need to have the concept under Pascal principle, where stated the pressure transmitted in an enclosed fluid is transmitted uniformly. So that's why we have the idea P1 equals to P2, and then you have F1 over A1 equals to F2 over A2. Now, for this question, you must be careful when we talk about the force is really force, not mass. Okay, so like this case, you see, they're using the mass of the car. But how do we change to the idea of force? Is the weight of the car, lah, right? Which is mg. Yes. So you firstly find out the weight first lah, times 9.81. Okay, then you will have 12360.6. Now, next thing that you all need to be alert is what about the area or the area given? Okay, so as you can see, the A1 given is what? 28.3 cm square. But A2 is what? 7.48 meters square. And of course, Y should be have bigger space area, so it cannot be 7, then this is 28 if you ignore the unit. So basically, you need to change the area for A1, right, to become in meters square also. So how do you change? So basically, you need to know what is this C referred to as centi. Centi is 10 negative 2. But because this is also square, right? So the whole thing have to be square as well. Because a lot of times students forgot it is cube, then you have cube. It is square, you have square as well. So hence you have 28.3 times 10 power negative 4. You can change to standard form or leave it during substitution. So for these questions, they want you to find F1. So F1 is unknown. Then your F2 is 12360.6 over A2, which is 7.48. Then I move this up, that's mean multiply with this 28.3 times 10 power of negative 4. Then end result, you will get the answer of F1 equals to 25 B, 4.68. Did you get that? Okay, try out again one more time. 12360.6. Okay, so this is how the way you'll get the answer lah. So be careful about unit because this question that want you to change the idea of mass into weight, want you to change the surface area. Next question 26. Why the atmospheric pressure on the top mountain is lower than the atmospheric pressure at the sea level? So basically, the higher the altitude, then lower atmospheric pressure. Also, this is the idea why at mountain top the pressure is less, because the air layer is getting thinner. If the air layer getting thinner, it also means that the density of air actually become lower, right? Okay, so we see the choice. So density of air at high altitude decrease, correct. The number of air molecule at sea level is lower, wrong. Okay, it's supposed to be at mountain. Then the temperature of the surface of the sea is hotter than the mountain. They don't affect. Okay, and then the weight of sea level is lower. No, okay. By right, you nearer to the earth. By right, it's supposed to be higher as well. Okay, so the answer is A. Next one, Diagram 17 show a kite being flown during a wild Bulan festival. Which of the following explain this situation? Okay, so for this one, you need to apply the concept of Bernoulli principle. So how it works is because why it can fly lifted, okay, is due to when you have different in the pressure. So what means during the while in the air, for example, this is your while, okay. So you have the speed of air is higher on top, then pressure is lower, but then beneath the while the speed of air is lower, the pressure is greater. So different in pressure causing the lifting force of this. Okay, so this is under Bernoulli principle. Okay, next, 28. Prudent use of electricity can help save and reduce the cost of electricity consumption at home. Which of the following statement is not the step of reducing the electrical energy usage? So as you know, electrical consumption E equals to power time time. That means how do you save energy? Or that means you reduce the use. Or that means you use in a shorter time, or the power of the device shouldn't be so high lah. Okay, so we see which is the correct, which one is not the correct one. So use cost saving bulb. Okay, correct, right? Because automatically you use cost saving sorry, this one cannot. Cost saving is the idea of you buy a cheaper bulb, not cheaper bulb. Cost saving means cheaper bulb means they are not that efficient one. So example is like what? Is like this filament bulb. Okay, so that's why you will actually less efficient. Okay, so it's actually the answer already. Close the window and door when using the air conditioner. Okay, so yeah, you can save energy, and then you switch off the electrical appliances when they are not in use. Yes, and you only use full load of the laundry when using washing machine. So all this you can help to reduce energy usage. 29. What should be done to reduce the resistance R in the whole circuit? Okay, so either you adjust the resistance, or you control the factor which affect the length of the constant wire. So there is a few factors, right? Length, cross-sectional area, and temperature. So if you want the resistance to be less, that means your length should be less. So increase mean wrong. The area should be increases. Okay, so yes, B is the answer already. You change the constant wire with nichrome type of material. Now nichrome have very high resistivity or high resistance, so it's not suitable. So then you add another wire in series. Wrong. But if you were to add it in a parallel way, yes. Yeah, so the answer is B lah. 20, 30. A fluorescent lamp used a normal household has a power of 40 watt. If the cost per unit of electrical energy used is 0.218 ringgit, what is the cost of switching on the fluorescent lamp for 18 hours a day for 30 days? Okay, so when you calculate this electric bill, we always change it the idea of energy in joule, right, to become unit of energy. So unit of energy is in the final unit of kilowatt hour. That means energy consumption PT, right? Your power must be in kilowatt, your time must be in hour. So 40 watt, you make it into 0.04 kilowatt divide 1000. Then the time they already give in terms of the hour and 30 days. So 18 times 30. Then you have the answer in terms of kilowatt hour first. Then the cost will be this much of cost time with 21.6. Then end up you will get the answer as D, 4 ringgit and 70 cents. Okay, so every time now you see electrical bill, then you have to change it into kilowatt hour. Okay, because energy in general, our units, SI unit is joule, right? Joule is also watt second. So it's just like another unit, okay, which is easier for you to calculate the electric bill. So that's why they change this form. Next one, these questions look a bit blur, scan not so clear. So I just okay, explain the questions that needed. So basically, this is the graph for voltage against current. So what the question required is which one will have the lowest resistance. So as you can see, this graph, the gradient represent the resistance or V over I. So you want lowest, that means less steep one. So this is W, X, Y, Z. So which one have the lowest? Z. Okay, so the answer is D lah for this one. Okay, diagram 20 show a current carrying copper in a magnetic field is pushed when current flow. This is under electromagnetism, first topic. So which action will decrease the angle theta? If you want this angle to be smaller, that means less force exerted, so how do you have less force? Reduce the resistance or reduce that? No, because when you reduce resistance, current increase. Current increase, that means force increase. Increase the number of magnet? No, because stronger magnetic field, or you will hence also increase the force as well. Then you decrease the power supply. Yes, why? Because when you have lower voltage, that means end up your current reduce, understand? So therefore your force will be less. Then increase the current, cannot. This is same idea back. Our force is greater, so your choice should be C. Number 33, an induced current is always flow in the direction that opposes the change in the magnetic flux that causes it. This statement refers to what? Lenz's law. And Lenz's law is also used to determine the direction induced current in the solenoid, and then end result, we know that the galvanometer deflect where what means you have the solenoid idea, right? So the general concept about this Lenz's law is stated what? If let's say this pole of North Pole, right, is approaching the solenoid. So because this solenoid, this end, they want to oppose the magnetic effect, producing it. So what happened is they will also produce the same pole. Yeah, so this is referred to Lenz's law. 34, diagram 21 show a solenoid connect to a sensitive galvanometer centered 0. So which one will give a 0 reading? 0 reading, okay, that means no effect lah. There is no cutting. So as you know, okay, if there is no induced current, that means there is no cutting of magnetic flux. Got cutting, got current. I always tell students, okay, of magnetic flux. Okay, so you move the solenoid towards the magnet. Yeah, you move. That means got cutting, because the magnet bar itself, you have this magnetic field. So got cutting, so cannot lah. Okay, no. Then moving the magnet away, same thing. One of the item, either magnet or solenoid move, right? Okay, or they have the opposite motion, okay? They also will cause cutting. Move the magnet towards the solenoid, also cannot. Then they say move the magnet and solenoid in the same direction. That means you move together. So if you move together, it seems like no cutting, right? So that's why the answer is D. Number 35, diagram 22 shows a cathode ray pattern produce a Maltese cross tube without the presence of magnetic field. And then which of the following correctly show the pole of the bar magnet and the direction of deflections of cathode ray. Okay, so the idea behind is the moment you bring the magnetic field nearby, right? The cathode ray basically will shift. And how do you determine the direction of the Maltese cross tube that being shifted, right? Is by using Fleming left-hand rule. Okay, now, but in this context, you must be careful regarding the context of, we always use the idea FBI, right? The idea of current. Okay, so why can you see the shadow is because the electron, they will strike this screen. So can you imagine the electron actually come up? But if the current flow same direction as the electron, no, right? Current will flow in opposite direction. That means if you see like now, this is the front view, so that means the current is into. So I put across like that, like what you all normally use your FBI, then your current is into. So first you need to know the current is into. Now, next thing about the idea of magnetic field, right? So as you know, in a single bar magnet, you have north pole and south pole. So this bar magnet, the field is away from north to south. So I will tell students, you look, if your end is pointing the multi-cross tip, right? That means your B is, the finger is also pointing. If your north is away, that means your B will be away also. So let's use A as idea. Okay, so FBI. So by right for this diagram, my eye is into the screen, like I told you, because the cathode ray shoot up. So my current is opposite direction, so it's into. Then next one, your magnetic field is toward. So where is my thumb? My thumb is downward, right? So by right, your cross is shift downward, understand? So that's why A is not the answer. Okay, if you were to look at A and D, they have similar idea, means the position of the magnet is on the sideway, correct? So either the pattern should shift up or down only. So actually A and D confirm wrong lah. A and D confirm wrong. Now we see the answer option for B and C. So we do for B now. We do for B now. So FBI into Now, your magnetic field north is towards right. So you have to rotate your hand until like that. So where is my thumb? My thumb is left side, right? So correct, this shifted to the left already. See or not? Now, C is also correct. You see FBI. Then it's up, I already say away, the north. Okay. So that's why they have two options for this, okay? But the answer scheme gives C as the answer, but both is correct unless this is sub or they just accidentally sometimes, yeah. So question got slight mistake. 36, diagram 23A show the rectification circuit with a capacitor connected, and the 23B show the displays from the CRO screen. What is the process that takes place on the capacitor? Refer X and Y on the graph. Okay, now by right, when you have this rectification, means you change alternating current to direct current or AC, and you have full wave rectification and also half wave rectification. By right, you should have a diode as well, or else you cannot have this pattern. Okay, and then in this circuit you must come with the capacitor as well. So this is diode. Okay, so diode will cause the current to flow in one direction. So that's why whenever they change in opposite direction, there will be no current flow. Okay, so this is when current flow, no current flow, current, no current. So initial pattern should look like this one. So the moment when you add in capacitor, I always tell students it's similar idea like a power bank. So what happened is that basically will charge up when you have current that time. So Y is when charging. Then X X is you're going to go downhill straight away, right? So they actually release charge. So we say discharging. X is discharging. So now we see the option of X should be discharging. Y is charging. So the answer is B lah. Number 37, which statement is correct about the nucleus of atom? Okay, so of course, nucleus, as you know, okay, they are surrounded by what? This nucleus consists of proton and also neutron, what? Then they are surrounded by electron, right? General idea. So is nucleus the lightest part? No, electron is more light. Okay, then nucleus consists of proton and electron. No, it's proton and neutrons. So it's D. Nucleus is surrounded by proton, also wrong. So this one is kind of basic idea lah. 38. Now, the half-life of the radioactive substance is 5 days. How much was the initial mass of the substance? Is 1.25 gram is left after 15 days. So this is the half-life idea. There is one equation under this topic, which is N equals to half bracket N and naught. Okay, whereby this N is number of half-life. This N0 is the initial mass, or is what we want to find. This one is the mass that left. Okay, so you have this N. You want to find N0. So how do you get number of half-life? Okay, you use 15 divided by 5. So that's why it should be 3. So hence, you now will have 1.25 sub inside half power of 3 and naught. Therefore, N0 is 1.25 times 8. And you get 10 gram. Or some of you always do the arrowhead way, right? Actually can, but then you need to do the reverse way. That's mean this is how much is left, so you time back 2, then you will get what? 2.5. Then you shift here again, so it's 5, then 10. So it's still 1, 2, 3 times, but then a bit, sometimes you may be confused a bit because it's the other way around, right? Okay, 39. What is black body? Black body is ideal body because what is able to absorb all electromagnetic radiation that fall on it. Yes, it can emit thermal radiation depending on its temperature. Not so accurate. C is allow the radiation to enter to be reflected repeatedly. This is the idea of total internal reflection, so not really correct. D is the face is black. No. Okay. Not necessary. They just have the name black body, but doesn't mean the object is black in color. It can be bright color as well. Yeah. So the answer is A lah. Last questions. The frequency of a photon having an energy of 26.52 electron volt. Right? So they want you to calculate the frequency. So first you need to know, you need to use the formula. This photon energy equals to Planck constant time frequency. Then frequency is E over H. Now, where do you get this Planck constant? They will be given. Generally, the value of this Planck constant is 6.63 times 10 power of 10 negative 34. Or you press calculator, constant, CONST, right, 0.6. They will appear the value of H. Yes. Then in terms of energy, because you want your unit to be SI unit, right? The energy must be in joule. So electron volt is another unit for energy. So you see, that's why they give you here 1 EV is 1.6 times 10 power negative 19 joule. So to change EV to joule, you times. Okay? So now I can sub already lah. 26.52 times with 1.6 times 10 power negative 19. Then the whole thing divided by the Planck constant value, which is 6.63 times 10 power negative 34. Make sure you bracket, put bracket, or else your final answer may be wrong. So after you press calculator, you're supposed to get A as your answer. Yeah. And the unit for frequency is in hertz. Okay, so that's it for the Q&A for this Negeri Sembilan paper. I will see you again in other state paper. Thank you. Bye-bye.